jumping right in, could your next social media post sabotage your workers' compensation case? Can you sabotage your own case? Are you your own worst enemy? If you're on workers' compensation, your social media has now become evidence, and it can be used against you if the insurance company feels it. And it's not a black and white issue. And that's really what this is where people get lost when it comes to these issues. They'll say, well, I'm not working. So what are they going to catch me doing? I'm not working. I haven't gone back to work. I'm not working. So I'm not doing anything wrong. And, you know, they, sorry, I'm fixing my watch here. And if I'm not working, there's nothing there that they can use against me. And that's not true. Okay. It's not always as simple and black and white of an issue of whether or not you're working versus not working. They are looking for information. They're looking for proof, evidence, anything to show that you might be that you're being less than truthful about your condition, your abilities, your capabilities, and things like that. And that's where you need to be careful. They're just trying to smudge the lines. They're just trying to create confusion. They're just trying to create some disbelief as to what you're holding out your condition to be, what you're telling your doctors you can and can't do. So you've got to be very, very careful. Insurance companies will routinely look through your social media. You don't think they're doing it, but they are doing it. They're not looking for the truth. They're just looking for contradictions. They're looking to catch you. They're looking to catch you in something that they can hang their hat on. Maybe it's not something huge. Maybe it's just something enough to throw a monkey wrench in the works. And to be honest, it's just like surveillance when it comes to them hiring an investigator. Sometimes when they put the time and the effort into investigating a person's case, they're going to pursue it. It costs them time, it costs them money. And if they're just taking the time to look through your social media, if they're taking that time and they find anything at all, they're going to throw it at you if they can, if they think it's going to lead to something that happens in their favor. So you got to be very, very careful. It could be basic stuff. You at a party, you driving in a car, you lifting up groceries, or you shopping at the mall with your friends. So any type of photos that show you doing something that could be construed as an activity that you should not be able to do based upon your injuries, they might use against you. An old photo that gets reposted can raise red flags. Posting a photo with a caption, hey, I'm feeling much better, or I'm doing better, or look, I'm back to working out of the gym or going running, that might cause a problem for you. You got to be very, very, very careful. You always hear the battle stories, and who knows how true some of these are. And, we'll talk about some of the ones I've seen and some of the ones I've heard. But we heard about one guy in New York who lost his benefits because he shared a photo on one of his social media pages of him going hiking. He said he had a back injury, and then he posted a picture of him going hiking with his family one weekend, and the insurance company used it to show that he was fine, and his benefits got denied, and that one simple post cost him thousands of dollars and left him in a much worse position, getting medical care and all the things he needs. It becomes problematic. So you need to be very, very careful. Their goal is not always to prove fraud. It's not always the big fraud that they want. It's just to create doubt. It's just to like I said, throw a monkey wrench into things, to cloudy the waters, to muddy the waters, like I say. And sometimes that's all it's going to take to get a judge to say, hey, maybe this guy's full of it, or maybe he's not as bad as we thought he was, or his doctor thinks he is, or the IME doctor thinks he is. So really, you need to ask yourself, is it worth posting a picture to risk your benefits? Listen, I'm old school. I have Instagram. Obviously, I'm here with you guys on Instagram and the YouTube and the TikTok and look, I take advantage of the social media that's out there, and I do enjoy it myself, but I'm not a big poster. I'm not a big yapper on people's pages. I'm not a big reposter and tagger. I don't do that stuff personally. Maybe I'm just an old man at this point. But I just feel like, not even in the legal field, I just think in general it creates more problems than good. And we've seen it used not just in the workers' compensation world, in civil matters and criminal matters. I mean, social media as an evidentiary tool is now being used across the board in all different areas of law to show that somebody might be full of it and um, being less than honest. So, workers' comp is going to follow suit and do the same thing and use it to their advantage when they can. And unfortunately, we don't have social media against insurance companies, but um, you're opening up a potential can that you shouldn't really and you don't want to be opening up. Be careful. What is the workers' comp insurance company hoping to find when they scroll through your feed? So they're going to be looking for anything that contradicts any aspect of your claim. If you say that you can only drive 15 minutes at a time and then you put a post up about, hey, I drove from Monticello down to Atlantic City, they're going to use that. They're going to at least try to use that. That's planting a seed. Maybe maybe they're never going to even show that to anybody, but now they're going to say, hey, we don't necessarily believe this guy. Let's put actual surveillance on his ass and follow him. And you don't want that. They're looking for contradictions, inconsistencies, something that shows against shows that you're going against your doctor's orders. You're not following doctor's orders. Anything that shows an inconsistency with your case and your medical and your condition is going to be useful to them in hurting you. Physical activities, their number one thing. They're going to be looking for you doing physical things because most injuries are physical. If you have a purely psychological claim, like we discussed in the past, might be a little different. But sports, chores, dumping the garbage, carrying your kids to and from school, anything like that, is what they're looking for. They're looking for you doing things that you shouldn't be or said you couldn't be doing. They look at timelines, what you posted after your accident and after your injury. What type of activities they have you doing then. And like I said, it could be any little thing. A single selfie of you in the gym could be enough to raise a red flag and put you in a place with your case that you do not want to be. They're going to look at captions and emojis. They're going to, feeling great today. All that kind of stuff is what they're looking to do. They're in the business of not spending money or saving themselves money, and that's what they're going to try to do. So you need to be super careful with your posts and what you put up. Also, tagged posts from friends and family. Maybe you're not posting that you went skydiving, but your friend is because you went with them. Be careful about what your friends and family. Don't go skydiving. How about that? If you're on comp, don't go skydiving. But be that as it may, watch what your friends and family are tagging you in, because that could be just as harmful as you posting it yourself. Sometimes even jokes or sarcasm will be used to challenge your credibility. So yeah, we've seen that as well. We've heard some horror stories. There was a nurse once that texted something or tweeted something, back to work soon, can't wait, and her employer went and used this saying, well, you must be all better now, and they tried to shorten what her overall recovery period looked like. So you hear horror stories and you want to be careful, and sometimes it's minor little things, but it's your job and it's our job to maximize what you can get out of your case within the bounds of the law and the bounds of truth. We don't want to sit here and lie, but just be careful what you're doing out there, please. Can they really use private posts in court? Yes. Yes. You know it. You don't want to believe it, but it's true. Private posts can be used. They're out there. They're in the stratosphere. They're in the cloud. They're in this area that we all love so much. If they're out there and they get it, they're going to use it. If it relates to your injury, if it's pertinent to the issues, they're going to use it. They can use it, and a judge is not going to be happy to see it, and you're not going to be happy when the decision's made. Technically, they can subpoena your posts or get them through mutual connections. They can get them. I haven't seen a specific subpoena for a person's social media in my sphere in the New York workers' compensation world. I know it's a possibility, but they have so much to deal with the people whose profiles are public and are openly posting that it's just a feeding frenzy, a feeding frenzy for them. That's alliteration at its finest. Privacy settings might hide things. It doesn't always protect you 100%. Friends will still, like I said, tag, share content, send them to another friend, screenshot pictures and send them along. Sometimes investigators could potentially, I don't know, I've not seen this, but I've heard that they could make, fake profiles, and you could friend them. And next thing you know, you're in and they're going to look. A mutual friend can repost things, and it opens the door. So you need to be very, very careful. Even deleted posts could still show up, and it could be used against you. If you've posted something, just assume that it's out there and be careful. But again, we don't want to sit here and talk about the best way to protect the liar. We want to sit here and talk about the best way to handle your case. And ultimately, here in New York State, if you're hurt and you can't work, you can't work. As soon as you're able, like I've said in the past, it's always best to go back to work. Under the best case scenario, workers' compensation is going to pay you 2/3 of your salary. So you're making less money by not working. Once you're able to go back to work, if it's light duty, partial duty, restricted duty, whatever, it's always best to gear up and get yourself back to work. I don't want this to come across as the best way to fool the insurance company, and let them and hide the bad things that you're doing. You shouldn't be doing the bad things. And you need to be careful. This is more of that gray area. When you do something that can be used against you, that's listen, we've seen it get raised, and with surveillance, usually with personal private investigators, in circumstances where a person says they can't lift more than 5 pounds, and we have them on video taking out the trash, which weighs 20 pounds. Well, that's bad, and that's going to be used against you. And the argument is, look, I still have my life to live, and I can't let the garbage just pile up because my back hurts. I got to dump the garbage. We've seen it shoveling snow and things like that. And we've talked about this in the past, but you got to be super, super careful. Which posts are the most likely to get you in trouble? Anything showing you doing physical activity, even light chores, they're going to use, or they're going to try to use, to hurt you. Because even if the picture only shows you doing something light, they don't know what you did before and after that, and it just opens up the door to the memory running wild, or the imagination running wild. Any posts about you feeling better, doing well, getting better, feeling great, not going to help you. Photos from trips, parties, getaways with friends, anything that looks super fun, they don't want you to be having fun while you're hurt and out of work. And if they see that, they're going to try to use that against you. Again, another one, and I'm working off my notes here, but comments talking about your boss, your job, the insurance company, how XYZ Insurance are a bunch of scumbags. Don't. Now you're just pissing everybody off. Don't do it. Come on. We want to. You want to come out of this with your head held high, get through a rough time in your life, and move forward. Don't sink down to anybody's level. So. No shit talking. Any jokes or sarcasm that downplay your injury, they might use against you. Side work, helping out a friend, second jobs, other businesses. I understand there's a lot of people out there that have a side business or involved in other businesses, and it's all well and good. Be upfront and honest about it, like we've talked about in the past 1,000 times. Posting on social media, I know people use it as advertising and things like that. You got to be super careful because they will use it against you, and that is something that we have seen. Be careful. So there's a lot of different things there. They're anything that they can take an angle on and try to use against you, they are going to. So keep it in mind. Do I really have to delete all of my accounts? No, you don't have to delete your accounts, but consider deactivating them. You can go radio silent while you're recovering and focusing on your injuries and focusing on getting better and focusing on your medical care and shifting your focus from your social media. So maybe we have a period of radio silence. If you want to stay online, maybe just stop posting. It's not so difficult. To be honest, nobody really gives a shit about the your Starbucks mocha latte venti that you had today. You don't have to post a picture of you walking down the street with your cup of coffee. Maybe you just stop posting. I never gave a crap about what anybody's eating or drinking, as good or bad as it might be. You don't have to post it. You don't have to post everything that you're doing. Maybe you go radio silent for a little bit. You could still snoop around and look at other people's crap, but maybe it's worth considering shutting down, tuning out for a little while. Tighten up your privacy settings, but you can't rely on them for protection. They don't always protect you, but it might be worth tightening up on them. Um, Make sure you tell family and friends. Don't tag me. Don't take pictures of me, please. Just, don't even mention me. Let me be while I get better and get myself back to work. Because yes, if you're at a barbecue and there's a little basketball happening in the back, or some lawn darts going on, they could assume that you were partaking. And listen, you don't want to open the door if it's not, if you can prevent it. And that's really what it comes down to. Ignore friend requests that you don't recognize. They could be investigators. They could be people with ulterior motives. So just be careful with friend requests that you don't recognize. I know, especially the youngsters out there, the younger crew, you want to get as many followers and as many likes. And speaking of likes, if you like this video, hit like and subscribe. But you want to get as many followers as possible. Maybe it's not a good time to pursue that goal, folks. Let's be smart. Don't message your lawyer. Don't talk to your lawyer. Don't talk about your case on social media. Very simple. If you want to talk to your lawyer, email them directly through confidential email or make a phone call. Don't go throwing things on accounts back and forth. It's not good. If you're not sure what to post or when to post, and you really, listen, I always say when it comes to food, if you're not sure if it's spoiled or not, it's probably best to let it go. If you're not sure if you should post it or not, keep it quiet, keep it to yourself. If you really have a question about putting something up, talk to your lawyer. But when in doubt, don't send it out. Don't post. Think before you share. So that's really all I have to say here. Again, I don't want to make this seem as though I'm trying to give you the best way to go out there and act immorally, illegally, improperly. But just know that even though you're hurt and you're doing the best you can to get better and get back to work, you doing certain things could be used against you if you go out there and advertise to the world through social media. Be smart, folks. Okay, let's jump into some questions here. Let's see here what we got on the gram. Hello, hope you and your family are doing well. Question: how many days it takes for someone to receive their comp check after everything was settled? Great question. So the answer to that question is it really depends on the type of settlement that we're looking at. Now, in the past, we've discussed Section 32 settlements and stipulated agreements, and maybe it's just the judge's decision awarding you benefits. If it's a judge's decision that it's awarding you benefits and it can be appealed, you got to be mindful of the appeal that's happening out there. You're going to get a decision in the mail. They have, I believe, 20 days. Is it 10 days or 20 days? I just drew a blank to pay you. Call your lawyer, and if it's me, call me, and I'll tell you. I'm drawing a mental fart right now. But if the decision's filed, they have 30 days to appeal from that decision. So if 3 weeks have gone by and you haven't gotten a check, you're probably going to get an appeal because they don't agree with the judge's decision. If it's a Section 32, once the Section 32 is heard by the judge and the judge approves your Section 32, there's a 10-day waiting period. So your Section 32 gets approved. There's a 10-day or 2-week waiting period. It's a cooling off period for the parties to withdraw if they choose to change their mind. And after that 10-day waiting period expires, the board issues a decision. Does the decision come on the 11th day? Not always. Sometimes we've seen it delayed. In a couple cases, it was delayed by like a week or two, and it made everybody crazy. But once that decision's filed, then the insurance company usually pays it pretty promptly. So it depends on the type of settlement that you're talking about. Usually 2-3 weeks after a settlement, will you get your check? So great question. Just realized the shadow is looking terrible on the computer. I thought I was going to look like George Clooney-esque today, and I really look like his dad. A friend of mine was caught diving in his pool by investigators in Miami, and he had a back injury. There you have it. It's simple. And now with drones, if they want to be doing surveillance, it's getting crazy out there. You really just need to be careful, be safe, be smart, and don't be doing the stupid shit that's going to make your life worse and possibly make your injuries worse. So great point. Mr. Rex, how do you fight a pre-existing injury when I injure the same body part due to a new accident? You file your claim and you let it go and you do your thing and you go see your doctor and you get your treatment and you handle it as though it's a new injury to an uninjured body part, and you deal with it at the end of the case when the judge asks for comments on apportionment. You don't have to worry about it. Go get your treatment. Go get better. Let the lawyers deal with it. It is going to be there is going to be an apportionment, most likely. They're going to say, based upon what we find your overall total or your overall level of disability to be at that point in time when that case is reaching its finality. They want to know how much of that overall disability is due to your pre-existing condition, how much is due to the accident and the injuries there. So, but it shouldn't bother you. It shouldn't worry you. It shouldn't change anything about your case. Go get your treatment, get yourself better, get yourself back to work, and let the lawyers and the judges deal with that junk. What do we got here on the tube? I'm him. What is a DC 130 form? What is that for? The DC 130, if you're talking about a DC 130, a DC 130 is actually a really cool plane. It's a converted C 130, which is the Hercules, Lockheed Hercules. But the DC 130, they converted, instead of carrying bombs under the wings, it carries drones. Super cool plane. I like planes. I'm a nerd. If you get bored and you want to see a cool plane, it's like an old World War II plane with drones under the wings, and they deploy. But what's a DC 130? A DC 130 is a discrimination complaint that you file through the Workers' Compensation Board. Is it the DC 130? Hold on. The DC 130, I believe, is if you are claiming discrimination for family medical leave discrimination or retaliation, it's the complaint form that you file through the Workers' Compensation Board. Workers' Comp handles certain discrimination claims, workers' comp discrimination. If you feel you were fired for filing for a workers' compensation claim or participating in a workers' compensation case, if your coworker fell off a ladder and you watched it happen and they call you to testify, and your boss says, "I can't believe you testified in so-and-so's case," you're fired, you could file discrimination action. So the board handles those. The board handles FMLA and paid family medical leave discriminations and retaliations, and I believe those are the complaint forms, the initial filings. So that's what that is. It's not just a cool plane. PM Galleria, you called my office yesterday for consultation? I might have missed it. Yesterday and today were hectic days. A lot of hearings last couple days. Your lawyer isn't bringing it home. It's time to wrap it up. Give me a call tomorrow. Luis, 10 years in, 100% disabled according to the AME vocational specialist and FCE specialist, and they constantly send watchers and still haven't settled. First AME doctor passed away, also the attorney. We had a case in my old firm years and years ago, and I believe the claimant was injured in the I know he was injured in the 60s. I don't remember exactly when. I got to ask a friend of mine. But he survived. He fell off a utility pole, horrible injury, but he survived like 3 of his lawyers. I believe he was paraplegic, outlived like 3 or 4 of his lawyers, who at the time had nothing wrong with them. So it's the world works in mysterious ways. Yeah, Luis, when you have 10 years of 100% disability, they're going to watch you and they're going to try to catch you so they don't have to pay for the 11 through 20 years of 100% disability. Be mindful of that. Good luck, my friend. I'm him and he's me. Is my workers' compensation lawyer supposed to make me aware of my case being a third-party personal injury lawsuit so that I can file a claim within the time frame to file? I mean, if you believe that you have a third-party case there, you should certainly speak to your workers' compensation lawyer or a personal injury lawyer or both. If you have questions about that, you should certainly reach out to the proper attorneys and run those scenarios by them to see what they can do to help you out. I caught the PI today doing surveillance. I went up to him since I felt harassed, and he didn't do such a good job hiding. What's something I could do to protect myself? Well, you know what he looks like now. They might be in different cars. They might do different things. They might send somebody new. It always reminds me of the scene in Goodfellas when they're in the diner and the FBI is parked out in front and they walk out of the diner and they get in the car and he knocks on the window. He's like, "Hey, let's go. We're taking a ride." Like he knows they're there. And if I was ever under surveillance, that's the move I would pull, the Henry Hill. One Up Cycles. Hey, Mr. Rex, my attorney wants to settle without a hearing, but it seems as though he doesn't want to be upfront about how much. I don't see your follow-up to that. Well, ask him. And it happens here from time to time where an insurance company will ask if there's settlement interest, and we'll ask the client, settlement interest, are you interested in settling? They say, yeah. And I'll say, all right, why don't you come in and talk about it? Nah, work it out. Do your best. I know the more you get for me is the more you're going to get for you, and do the best you can, and I'll be happy. And we hear that sometimes. If you have valuation questions, if you want to know what's in their mind and what they're thinking, ask them. Nothing wrong with asking. Make an appointment. Go see them. Sit down. Go over it. Nothing wrong with that. All right. Callahan. This is Tom Callahan, big Tom Callahan's son. I'm always going to say that every time you post something because that's how my brain works. It's a scary thing in there. Good afternoon, Rex. I have many questions today. Starting by the notice received by Workers' Compensation Board regarding my Section 32. Why the insurance company is planning to review and correct my Section 32 after I signed it. I don't know that they're going to do that. They shouldn't. Once it's signed, it's signed. So I just got a nice thumbs up over there on the gram. I wouldn't, if they're going to change it, they should tell you about it. But it's reviewed by everybody. It's reviewed by the board. It should be reviewed by you, Callahan. What cons and pros of reviewing my Section 32? I don't really understand what you're asking me there. Always review your Section 32. It's good for me and it's good for you. One Up Cycles. Oh, PM is asking. That's why I'm dropping my lawyer. I'm going with drop on there. I'm tired of asking them to do something and they're not. Listen, we fall into it we're human beings, us lawyers. I don't know who your lawyer is, so I'm not necessarily defending them. They could be not great like me. But look, we're human beings too, and sometimes we fall into a rut and a routine, and the monotony of work and life gets in the way. And we apologize. On behalf of all lawyers out there, I apologize. If you have a question, a specific question, and listen, by the same token, there's some clients that can be a pain in the butt sometimes too. I'm sure we all know that. But if you have a question about the value of your case, where your case is going, what you should be expecting, call your lawyer. And if you don't get the answer you want, make an appointment. I have no problem with my clients coming in and sitting down and talking to me about what's going on with their case. I have a problem when they come in and they sit down and we talk about bullshit. And I'm like, why? What are we doing? I have a million people. But legit questions should get legit conversations and legit answers. Callahan, Big Tom Callahan's son, has a next question. Generally, doctors talk about schedule loss of use. What about loss of enjoyment? Fishing and swimming, how can you calculate its rating per percentage? Thanks. If you're talking about New York, there is no loss of use for fishing. If there is, I would be total. I love fishing, and I don't have the time to go as much as I used to. I was a big offshore guy. Now I'm just a desk jockey. That doesn't matter. Loss of schedule loss of use here in New York State, they don't consider your pain and suffering, loss of enjoyment of life, your inability to fish, swim, shoot a jump shot, hit a baseball, run a mile. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is the guidelines. And for the most part, the guidelines talk about your range of motion to the body part and any special considerations. So if we're talking about a knee, if you have loss of flexion, they take a look at how much flexion you now have lost. They compare it to the chart, and that equates to a percentage of loss of use. If you have a special consideration that the board guidelines talk about, then that gets factored in as well. If you had a knee replacement, if you have chondromalacia patella, if you have other certain maladies, they get factored in. Fishing is not one of them, unfortunately. I need a refill in the water. That's what I need. Oh, man. I want to know how you can define some juridical vocabulary. Set aside, an offset. Callahan says, I keep asking questions, first come, first serve. What is a set aside? You know what? I'm going to look up the definition of set aside. A set aside is money set aside. I mean, literally, I don't even know why I'm wasting my time with that. A set aside is money that's set aside for a particular legal purpose. So a Medicare set aside, if you have a $300,000 Section 32 settlement and there's a $100,000 Medicare set aside, you should set that money aside if it's not being set aside for you. Um, offset is when money is um, deducted in consideration of a threshold, I think is a good way to put it. It really depends. Give me a scenario and I'll give you a better definition. Okay, Callahan, you're ruling the roost here, and I'm going to start moving. My second question about my second opinion of my shoulder injury: is there a deadline to visit a second doctor? Is it before or after surgery? Is it before or after Section 32? Thanks again. Well, if you're doing a Section 32 and you go for a second opinion afterwards, it's not going to change anything because your Section 32 is done. So, is it before or after surgery? If you're getting a second opinion on surgery after you've already had the surgery, probably a little late. I would always say to get a second opinion on the particular issue that you want a second opinion on, or on your overall condition, ASAP. If there's no deadline, there's nothing in the law. You posted a question about this in the comments section on one of the YouTube videos, and I did respond to it. There's no deadline, but ASAP is a good way to think about it. Benjamin Gonzalez, how often are you supposed to get updates from your lawyer? You know what? That's a great question. And I had a discussion with a person about that today. They were talking about their old lawyer, how they never called me and they never updated me on my case. And sometimes we get clients that call and say, you never call me. I always have to call you. Listen, I'm sorry. I don't. We're not friends. We're not buds. This is a very weird relationship in humankind. The lawyer client relationship is a weird relationship. We are close and tight, and I'm here for you. I have a legal, ethical, moral obligation, financial obligation to you before I have an obligation to myself, and that goes a long way. And I will do everything I can to get you everything I can get for you within the bounds of the law, and I will fight zealously for each and every one of my clients and do the best I can to get the best results for everybody. That said, I physically couldn't call every single client I couldn't do it once a month just to say, hey, here's an update on your case. If there's nothing to talk about, there's nothing to talk about, so there's no sense to make a phone call. And some clients don't like that, and I understand it, but that's just not how the system works. If there's an update that needs to be conveyed, if there's a discussion that needs to be had, if there's information that needs to be exchanged, I am on the phone. And that's what I do 95% of the day. We're on the phone. This phone is like hot by the end of the day because it gets used so much. We are on with clients, if they're not sitting across the desk from me. It's you spend your time working on the things that are happening. And just to call somebody and say, hey, just call it, nothing's happened since last time we spoke is really a waste of both of our times. So don't take it as a negative. Don't take it that you have a bad lawyer. Don't take it that you have a non-communicative lawyer. Don't take it that your lawyer stinks. Take it actually maybe as a good thing that your lawyer's so busy and does such a great job that he's on the phone getting things done. And it's funny because it goes both ways. There are clients that I call them up and I say, hey, you have a few minutes. I want to go over your case. And I say, hey, Rex, I haven't spoken to you since, a year ago. When you signed my case, or the last time we had a hearing, or the last time we went over the question I had about my IME, what's up? And I say, well, we got some settlement offers on the table, and here's what I think, and here's what we can do, and blah, 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 blah. And next thing you know, they're doing cartwheels because the case is settled and they got a nice chunk of money. And they say, wow, really didn't you kind of got it done. Yeah, we get shit done over here. So it's not always a bad thing. Look at it from both sides. If you have questions, if you have legitimate concerns, if you have legitimate gripes, if you want to go over some aspects of your case, call your lawyer, have a chat with them. We can't read your mind. I don't know when you guys have a question out there, and I can't read your mind and just pick up the phone and call you and answer your question. If you have a question, call. That's really I love my clients. I love speaking to them and answering their questions and making them feel comfortable. But yeah, we're not mind readers, and we can't just reach out and call. And it's funny, a lot of times it's the biggest, toughest, blue collarist, hard nosed dudes that are the most sensitive. That you don't call me, like we don't talk anymore. It always makes me laugh. But I love you guys all. almost 8 months in. I only spoke to my lawyer once. Do you have I mean, if you're getting your treatment and you're getting your benefits and things are going the way they should be going, there might not be a reason to speak to them. If you have a question, if there's an issue or a concern or something you discuss, call your lawyer, make an appointment or a phone conference and speak to them. I think this guy used to work for UPS, and now he's just a retired UPS guy. I'm moving out of state of California to Florida. Can I still see my California doctor? Do I have to get a new doc? I don't know. Here in New York State, if you move out of New York and you move down to Florida and you want to see a Florida doctor for your New York State case, that's fine as long as the doctor understands that and is willing to participate and cooperate. So it might not be an issue, but I don't know the laws of Florida and California specifically. Twan, hey Rex, can you file for SSDI after settling your workers' compensation after 2 years, as well as potentially getting back pay in Georgia? So SSDI is federal, so it wouldn't matter the state. I believe you can. I don't practice Social Security law myself personally. I work with some great lawyers who do. If you need help with that and you want me to get you over to somebody, call me. Even though you're in Georgia, I can get you to an attorney who can help you out. 212-406-8989, my first shameless plug of the day. If you have any questions, even you, Twan, about your Georgia living, Social Security having, but call me and I'll get you over to somebody who can help you out. What is the deadline to file a personal injury lawsuit within my workers' compensation case? I'm 2 years in my workers' comp and was recently told by my lawyer I should look into a third-party case to see if I have a case. It depends on the nature of the lawsuit and who you're suing and what type of lawsuit it is. Usually it's 2, could be 3 years. Cy has the comment of the day. You know what, Cy? Cy works so hard to help us out and gives us, he's the man, and Steph and the team over there does such a fantastic job that they are getting the gold star today. They deserve it. They're awesome. So if you guys like what you're hearing, please hit like. If you want to subscribe, please do. You get the TBS tote bag and the coffee tumbler. No, we don't have any giveaway. If you come to my office and you sign a case, what do you get? You get a Law Office of Rex Zukovsky pen. You get a wonderful folder for all of your workers' compensation paperwork. We do have tote bags, as a matter of fact. Come on in, get a tote bag. We got a whole bunch of them. I didn't post anything on social media since my case started. Very rare. Anything you can post can be seen by attorneys and they will look, period. 11 years in. There you have it. Pegleg Harper, who has one of two. Work injury resulting in below-the-knee amputation. Holy, yes, we talked about this. And your YouTube screen name handle is awesome. You can make light of the situation. Congratulations. I have a leg and was just given permanent work restrictions. I should be having an IME for my disability rating any day now. How close to settlement can I be? You're probably pretty close. So, if you're not looking at any future medical treatment, if you've reached MMI, like we've discussed, maximum medical improvement, maybe you're at the end of the road. You're at the finish line pretty soon. So congratulations. Heather, happy Easter. Happy Easter to you. Happy Passover. I celebrate them all, my friends. There is no holiday I would avoid. They're all great. Cy is so happy he got his first gold star. Going back to Pegleg, do you think I should have a pretty okay settlement? I am 28 years old and was an electrician and a below-knee amputee. Holy shit. Man, that's terrible. I'm sorry. It's Harper, not Harper. I keep calling you Harper. You should have a pretty okay settlement. I mean, there's a lot of factors that need to be considered here. Man, it sucks. I wish I could help. But yeah, do you have a lawyer? Talk to your lawyer, see what they're expecting there. Taz, if I get an IME doctor and they only evaluate you, or they can recommend treatment. If they do that, only increases my case value, or can I use that report to get the treatment recommendations? Generally speaking, an IME doctor, an IME doctor is not going to recommend treatment. An IME doctor is going to give you an objective, the way they paint their pictures of themselves, give an objective medical opinion based upon my evaluation. And they're not going to recommend treatment. It's rare. I've seen it, but they're not going to do it. They're going to comment on the treatment that's being recommended by your doctor. oh, well, Dr. So and so, I don't know why I was having such trouble with that, recommended 12 visits of physical therapy. I think that's okay. I would agree with that assessment. And so, um, they'll either agree or disagree with the treatment that's being recommended by your doctor. Generally, they will not make their own recommendations, but I have seen it, and I've seen pretty significant ones where why hasn't this guy been sent for surgery yet? He needs surgery. It does happen, and yes, your doctor can then take that and say, Jesus, he's right, we should have sent for surgery, and then they go and do that. It does happen. It is rare. Her Herpetology is the study of reptile. You're a snake dude or woman. I can't see your picture, dude. Well, now that I see the blow up of your picture, which my phone is sitting in front of, so now I feel like a total jackass that your picture is you holding a monster snake. Yes, very cool. Snakes scare the shit out of me, but whatever, I'll be fine. Princess, hope you're well. I am well. How are you? Love the information you provide. Helps a lot to try to get through the stressful situations of trying to find a new normal. Yes, keep up the great. Yes. And those are the people that I really feel for the most. The large percentage of workers' compensation claimants and my clients here are people that get hurt and it's a temporary thing and it sucks for a couple of weeks or a couple of months and they get through it and then they get better and they move on with their life and that's it. But it's the people that have those permanent, that permanent, long-standing, long-term, significant impact on their life. Yeah, you woke up one morning fine and you ended that day not fine, and that was the beginning of the new rest of your life, and people don't get it, and it sucks. I mean, I don't want to talk about it. We had one this week that, I mean, a guy who's in really, really as bad a shape as you can imagine, and I've been on the phone with insurance companies and hospitals and doctors and trying to just get this person treatment, and it's like, come on, people, let's work together and do what we can. A couple more questions here on IG, and we're going to wrap it up. I went to my appointment. I went to my IME appointment the other day and was there for an hour. And doctors saw me for 1 minute. Is that normal? Yeah. They cram in sometimes a ton of people for IMEs, and they see you for a couple fleeting minutes, and they don't really do much, from what I understand. And yeah. Is that normal? An hour and a 1 minute? I've never seen a 1 minute evaluation. I think the shortest I've seen was 3. A lot of doctors will just write down that they saw you for 10. But yeah. Derek, how is mileage and transportation calculated if you need to go to another state to see a doctor? Will workers' comp cover an airplane ticket? Generally, they won't. Why you need to go to another state? You need to show that there's a medical reason for it. Is this doctor the only doctor that treats this particular type of thing in a different state? Why can't you see a doctor in your own state? Sometimes they'll give you money for mileage, but airplane tickets, I've seen it, but it's very, very rare. With that, folks, I just saw one more question pop up. Nope, I was wrong. I'm going to wrap it up today. It's been a hearty 45 minutes of chatter. Now you know about surveillance. Now you know why it's so important to watch your butt and be careful. I don't know if you've noticed, but the Mets have been on a tear. I probably should not have put my foot in my mouth. But when you sweep St. Louis and then you come right back and sweep the Phils, it's nice and it's good. And baseball is back, and the Mets are back, and the Yanks are right there, and it's gonna get hot when it gets hot. So I'm so happy for that. Oh, I see JN868. Can you give us an advice for the people who have a new case and have been denied? Yeah, keep going. Don't let up. Get a lawyer. If you need a lawyer, you can call me, 212-406-8989. Get a lawyer. Know why they denied it. Know what you need to do to get that case established and to get your benefits, and don't let them trample on your rights. If you got hurt on the job and you're disabled and you're hurt and you need treatment and you're not working, or any combination of any of those factors, and you're not getting what you need, call a lawyer. Call me. I like talking on the phone. 212-406-8989. That is me, Rex Sikowski. Folks, I thank you all for your fantastic comment. Oh, a couple more just float in. Derek, there it is. Like the video, guys. He's right. That's why you want to travel out of state. This is the guy who invented the surgery. Listen, there's some crazy doctors that yeah. So what you should do, Derek, going back to your question real quick, if you want to see this doctor out of state and it's a flight and the whole thing, call your lawyer, have your lawyer call the adjuster and say, look, my client wants to go see this doctor. And this doctor invented this surgery that's going to make him way better than he is now. And if he gets way better than he is now, his level of disability goes down and you're on the hook for less money. So buck up, pay for his flight, pay for this doctor, and it'll save you money in the long run. And try to have your lawyer sell to them that way so that you can get what you need, you can get what you're looking for, and you can and adjuster, the consultation was approved by the judge. So now it's just a matter of paying for this guy's flight. You're gonna have to pay for travel reimbursement anyway. Let's get him on a flight, the JetBlue out of LaGuardia, and let him have some peanuts on the plane and feel better on the way back. Folks, thank you so much for everything. We're going to get back to you next week. Let's pick a time. Pick a time. I am away next. Oh, shoot. Shoot. Here's what we're going to do. We're thinking outside the box here, folks. We're going to do a Tuesday at 3:30. How about that? Tuesday, 3:30, live from New York. It's me. Cy? How you feel about that? He is running around with his gold star, showing it to the neighbors right now. That's why he's not in. There he is. Tuesday, 3:30. You got it. It's in the calendar. How do you feel about that gold star, Si? You like it? I know you do. It's probably off to the framers as we speak, but he deserves it. Thanks so much, everybody. Child of God, thank you so much. Thank you, Princess. Have a great weekend. Sai loves it. I love you guys. Thanks so much. We will see you Tuesday, 3:30. We're working on a hot topic. This is a good one. And if we can't finish out all the notes by then, we might just do that all the battle royal, the Q&A. You hit me with the questions and I come right back at you. So maybe we'll do that. Depends on what we're going to do. But we're working on some good topics down the road here. You guys are really going to enjoy what we got for you. Be safe. Be careful. Take care of yourselves. And I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Thanks. Have a great day.